I hunted, Rob. I hunted for Tobey Maguire's dick.
Do you want to take a life? Do you want to cross that line? Because it's a long way back from hell.
I learned a long time ago that there's no sense getting all riled up every time a bunch of idiots give you a hard time. In the end, the universe tends to unfold as it should. Plus, I have a really large penis. That keeps me happy.
Now, what you've got here is a scrotum and nothing else.
Vagina.
My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
God darn it, Mr. Lamar. You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
Been so long. That was in front of the Millennium Fandom Bar. We were cheering, and we are looking to return to the Millennium Fandom Bar if it's still around. I haven't checked on Alex, to be honest with you. Next year. I almost said this year, but we're still in this year. We're not in next year yet, but I guess we're always in this year. But whatever. For the meetup. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner on Rumble, on the YouTubes, on Nerdrotic Live. Now, the super chats are turned off because this is a square up. We're just going to have a little fireside chat. And we can have a fireside chat today because yesterday it was 75 degrees and today it's 44 degrees. So I set up a fire in my fireplace to light like a week ago so I can have like a Christmas fire, and that didn't happen. It got so warm the mosquitoes came back. Sons of bitches. Hail chat, though. Hail chat. Let's see who's here. The present fathers. We need more present fathers, for sure. Meat Bun. DPG Beller. Ice Cold Polar. White Chocolate. Johnny, 182. Is that supposed to be Blaze? No. It says 182 EE. Varn is here. Dragonsworn. Dalek Russell. Paper Ligers. Excuse me. Mad Murphy. The Trevor Grant. Why did I say the? That's weird. Now I'm just, what form of dyslexia is that where it puts words there that aren't there? Maybe that's just dyslexia. Not really sure. Stimpy. Ling Ling. Blue-eyed Scorpio. My favorite blue-eyed Scorpio. What up, brother? Odios? Odoios? I just screwed that up. Jose Taco. And Mexi Rage. You guys were just here last night when I did my impromptu stream. Welcome to the show, everybody. I guess we're just gonna have to like reset kind of what we said last night, but there's some new people here. There might be some new information, but in the entertainment sphere, it's all about Stranger Things. Now, it is interesting that there is a movie in the theaters that is just past $750 million at the box office, and nobody's talking about it. Absolutely nobody's talking about this movie at all. They're all talking about Stranger Things and Cyclops. It's so bizarre. Yes, Avatar. And I don't like any of the movies. They're not the worst thing I've ever seen. There's varying degrees of bad, obviously. Avatar is not going to ever be on a top 5 best or top 5 worst. It'll be the top 5 things that existed in this year. That would be the only list for me. But it is crazy that that movie's going to make $2 billion and fucking nobody's talking about it. And I guess it's a popcorn movie for some people. Sure. You know what it is? I mean, this could be said for a lot of movies, but I think this is the perfect description of Avatar. It is an adult children's movie. And yes, that can be applied to a lot of things, but I think in the truest sense of that description, it is an adult. Well, I mean, Zootopia 2 arguably could be too, and that one's killing it too. But Avatar is an adult children's movie. It is there to be looked at and, ooh, that's pretty lights. Yay. That's really good special effects. My biggest problem is there's no story. But aside from that, I don't like the Na'vi design at all. I don't think it's pleasing to the eye. And James Cameron has turned into such a freaking yes, woke, but just typical Hollywood progressive who lives in a bubble, has no idea. You would think he's not a dumb guy. He's done some amazing things in his life. But if you want to make something analogous to colonization of the states, particularly, he finally gets into one area where, okay, man, this makes it a little more real, is another tribe just hates another tribe because I'm telling you, thousands of colonists with muskets and guns could not have taken over a country this fast if they were united in any way, shape, or form. And also they didn't get wiped out from a bunch of diseases. It would have taken a lot longer. It would have taken a lot longer. And you know who gets passed all the time? Spanish. We get the focus on Spanish, like fucking mowed through people. And they mowed through the Aztecs, and the Aztecs were horrible. Absolutely horrible. And back in those days, there were tribes. There were tribes that just broke out their popcorn when the Spanish came. And they're like, oh, fuck, okay, good. Kill these fuckers. Historical fact, they had popcorn. No, they didn't. Yeah, the Aztecs were it is my belief that people have been in the Americas for hundreds of thousands of years, not 10, not 12, hundreds of thousands of years. There was a cataclysm. If you watch Forbidden Frontier, you know what I'm talking about. There's little bits of evidence that this is happening, and there's more and more, and there's evidence that the archaeological community has covered up. So they've been here. I think they've been here for 100,000 years. Hominids. There's been, I don't know about Denisovans, but I definitely think Neanderthal and modern day humans were here long time. And then they all got wiped out. And what we're seeing, what came after, like the Clovis, are the ones who might have come through the ice-free corridor or along the coast. Now they're thinking along the coast. I think the Aztecs, like the Egyptians, had a lot of tech that was passed down from previous civilizations, and they were the de-evolution of that, like bottom of the barrel, like just complete, savages. And from a previous civilization we might not know at all, like the Olmecs on down, and it was just a de-evolution after a cataclysm. That's right. Tower of Babel. But worldwide. Beardo is dumber than a Neanderthal. But he's not fat. He's not fat. And that's why the archaeological community is gatekeeps so much, because of a lot of it's political correctness, guys. A lot of it is, we call them, what the hell? We call them Native Americans, and they're not. They're not. The Native Americans all died out. And they were just the next ones to come in. Dr. Schlurpo, this is good advice. Careful, Gary. Too many solo nooners and you'll go blind. At least that's what Mom says. That's what Mom told me too, but I also heard it's good for the prostate. But it's not, sure, it's a solo nooner, but it might not be for you. It might not be for you. Okay, so big news is Stranger Things. There will be many videos about it today. I talked about it last night. I was halfway through writing one. I wrote, which is bullet points. I do bullet points and then I riff. I wrote a whole thing where I could have just done a video today. And then I thought better of it, or worse. And I'm going to wait for it to finish and do a season 5 review, because as I said last night, as cringe, ill-timed as that coming out scene was, if you remove the cringe, ill-timed, stupid, staged monstrosity that scene was, Stranger Things season 5 is still bad. It's still very, very bad, especially after watching the last half of season 4, and it's night and day how it's paced, how it's written. A lot of the elements that have always been in Stranger Things have turned into a caricature of themselves, very memeable. They did not know how to end this, or they just stuck with what I think is a horrible idea. Now, it could all change in these last 2 hours, but let's go back to Game of Thrones season 8. Lots of comparisons. There is no comparison between Stranger Things and Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was a high-level, excellent, top-tier show for multiple seasons. Stranger Things never was. Stranger Things had a really good season, a couple of really bad seasons, a better season, and now their worst season. So it can be comparable to Game of Thrones, maybe on popularity, but not really, because if you look at the numbers, not really. But there are other comparisons that, okay, there's the Under Armour logo that showed up in the final season when and it's like there's mistakes on camera all the time. But then you hear the Duffer Brothers go out there and go, we spent 12 hours shooting the Will coming out scene, and it was the hardest one to write and the one we spent the most time on. But your editors, your directors, dude, you see this shit on the dailies, on like the shit, you see that on the set, and everybody missed it. And that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people who missed that mistake. The Under Armour logo, which was established in 1996, that shows up, that Holly has, the new main character, who has the most, I gotta look, I heard people saying the most screen time. I haven't done the minutes on that. I'll check, but she has had a lot of screen time, and it certainly looks like they're setting her up for a spinoff for sure. But there's a bunch of other stuff that's just horrible about the show, aside from, Will coming out. Now, they have been setting up Will being gay the entire series. And there's multiple factions of outrage, if that makes any sense. There is the people who haven't been watching the show and just thought it came out of nowhere. There's the people who think Vecna made Will gay. There is the people who wanted Mike and Will to be gay together really badly. And then there's the people who just think there's just too much gay in the show. I think I might agree with that one. I think you have two coming out moments when, honestly, Robin should be with Steve, and they should have saved the coming out for Will. Pretty normal, where I grew up, that there was a gay friend in the group. Pretty normal. But there wasn't like 5. There was one. But doing that thing with Robin, and then doing it with Will, and then breaking up the straight relationship, because I think everybody would be talking about how fucking retarded that scene was if the retarded Will scene doesn't dominate that. The unproposing. So you basically make the straight relationship break up, and you amp up the gay, and everybody's safe. And why am I blanking on her name? Robin's girlfriend is useless. She doesn't need to be in the show. She takes up screen time from somebody else. She adds nothing. She is there purely for inclusivity. That's it. So it should have been Will's scene. It should have been like a private scene with fewer characters, and it should have been earlier in the season, like way earlier in the season. Because the thing is, once he was okay with being gay, and that tapped him into his powers, which is fucking hilarious, Will should have been kind of a badass after that. I was fine. It's like, give him some powers, give him something to fucking do besides cry. And they reverted him right back to being a pussy. So, but for those of us who have seen the show, and for people who are criticizing, well, if you're surprised Will's gay, nobody's surprised Will is gay. Nobody. We're surprised, although we shouldn't be, admittedly. I'll speak for myself. I don't want to speak for you. I shouldn't be surprised that they spent minutes of the penultimate episode gathering people together like you're praying in fucking church, including people Will didn't even fucking know to come out. Now, what was behind that? It's so Vecna can't use it against Will. Well, Vecna can't use it against Will if Will doesn't give a shit. See, that's the thing. It's worrying about what other people think. And my guess with coming out is you do that as a courtesy to everybody else, but you've accepted it and you're cool. That's the only thing that matters is you're cool with it. And that's where so much projection gets put on art and so much stuff is so many people, especially shippers, weirdos, are not okay with being gay. So they need to coerce the world in for them to be okay to be gay. It's a personal thing. That's what I'm saying. It's something you got to work out with yourself. And then you tell everybody else. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. While it's not even close and I have no idea, but for the longest time, I didn't tell anybody I went to prison. I didn't tell anybody I was a felon, except very close friends. And I got tired of lying on job applications. So I just said, fuck it. And I think, what was the first application where I said felon, boop, wrote down the thing was, to their credit, I think it was Oakland Acura. They're like, no problem. That was pretty cool. But that was at the time where I'm like, it's not like information I'm going to offer up and it's not important in everyday life, but part of the program is honesty and, even, and it depends. It's not a smart thing to do all the time when you need a job. So I wouldn't recommend you do that unless you're ready to do it. Right. But I was like, fuck it. I don't care anymore. Okay. It's been long enough. It's been long enough. But back to Stranger Things. Yeah, you take that scene out. It's still bad. It's still really bad. So the thing going around with Millie Bobby Brown, the face of her going. The reason that's getting memed, if I'm sure most of you know, is it does look like she's had work and she's 20. And it's like fucking Hollywood, dude. Fucking Hollywood. And it could be like a little filler here and there. I don't know much about it, but like you're 20. Don't do that to yourself. But they do. But she also, I think she just had a kid, right? Robin looks older. Actually, Robin looks older than Millie Bobby Brown. Robin looks really skinny. And Nancy's always been really skinny. Nancy always looks like she's on the verge of passing out. Yeah, the pictures of Robin are noticeable, But how long has it been? When did season 3 come out? Season 3 Stranger Things came out what? Yeah. Oh shit. 6 years ago. Six years ago. Yikes. I was hiking 6 years ago. I was in San Francisco 6 years ago in my little office. And I remember in the background, I had a little Stranger Things season 1. They did that when one of the few times Netflix made physical media. They did a VHS cassette case of the 4K, which is really cool. It was in my background. It's one of the first things in my background. Thank you. My vitamins. Started watching FNT 6 years ago. Time flies. It does. Vitamin B is very good for you. I should have stopped at season 2, but greed got the best. Greed got the best of them. Yeah, season 2 wasn't great. It wasn't great, but it's better than season 5. It's better than season 5. Jeremy likes vitamin D. I bet he does, Eric. I bet he does. Hang on. So just to keep you guys, so it doesn't look like I'm totally going crazy. It sounds like somebody's about to walk in my door, like my wife just did to bring me my coffee. But there's a squirrel on my roof. Fucker can't get in, but yeah, he's running around up there, and it sounds like somebody's like trying to get in. Fucking Disparu, dude. I am gonna shoot that motherfucking thing if it gets in my house, though. More vitamins. Oh, shit. I was supposed to do an ad read. I'm going to do that right now. Take care of some business. And this is Venice AI. This episode is brought to you by Venice AI. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. Meta uses our information based on our browsing and engagement history to sell to other companies. Why do we assume AI is going to be any different? If you've used any of the leading AI apps, you have probably been censored at some point, even for harmless questions or requests. With Venice AI, it lets you use AI without handing over your sensitive information, with features like encrypted messages, and your conversation history is stored only on your browser. AI can be extremely valuable, but we shouldn't need to give up the privacy to use it. Venice utilizes leading open source AI models to deliver text, code, and image generation to your web browser. There's no downloads or installations. The Venice Pro plan unblocks the full platform and features that include PDF uploads for summaries, the ability to turn off safe mode for unhindered image generation, the ability to change how Venice interacts with you by modifying the system prompt, limitless text, and high image limits. If you want to use AI without fear or handing over your most intimate thoughts, you can get 20% off the pro plan by using my link, venice.ai/nerdrotic. That's venice.ai/nerdrotic, and use code nerdrotic. There, took care of some business. All I can say, at least Stranger Things didn't do a massive drive to the bottom like Game of Thrones. Yeah, well, I mean, that's because Game of Thrones fell harder because it came from a higher place. Game of Thrones fell harder because it was excellent. Stranger Things has never been. Season 1 is pretty great. I like it. Season 2 or 3 are not. Huge dip in quality. Season 4 gets back to form, but there are a couple elements that planted the seed for this season. But like Vecna coming in was a great idea. That like Vecna saved the fucking show. People will say it's Eddie, and I think Eddie's a character that really contributed to that, but Vecna saved the show. But he could also tank the show, because if it's just a kid who huffs some dust in a fucking case, it's like, now if those particles are like DNA of an eldritch god or something like that, okay, then we're talking. Like, I'm fine with that. But we'll see. But the fact of the matter is, they didn't plant seeds for Vecna in the early seasons. It was the Mind Flayer. Now we can say we knew that all along. It's like, hey, you didn't know you were going to get 4 seasons. Come on, stop it. The Upside Down was something that they had conceptually, an idea of conceptually that changed a lot. And hey, if you guys had gotten in a plane and flew over to the UK and watched a fucking play, then you'd know what's going on. You would have more information. All you needed to do was get on a plane, get a hotel, fly to the UK, go to the West End, buy a ticket to a play that the Duffer Brothers have said you don't need to watch. I'm going to call them liars at this point. Now they still have 2 hours to info dump everything. But if you went and saw a play, then you'd know more, which is an absolute, utter, and complete failure of storytelling. Period. End of story. End of story. Yes, the theaters have mostly sold out. I have a ticket. I'm not going. I am not going. I'm not going to a theater to go see this. It starts at the same time at home. So I'm like, I'm going to stay home. So I'll be busy rewatching it again. Yes, there is a play. There is a play on the West End, which is a good idea. I mean, if they ever get it out, there's going to be a Song of Ice and Fire play. That Harry Potter play is an abomination. But yes, this play is kind of the background of Vecna. And as Ryan pointed out on FNT, like Joyce went to school with him. And Hopper. Yeah, the Cursed Child is fucking terrible. No Harry Potter fan, no worth their salt, claims that as canon. They don't claim that as canon. I think they kind of mentioned, no, not enough. Let's put it that way. Kind of an important thing to not leave out, if that was indeed your plan all along. So I question that. But I think they drop it at what was it, 7 p.m. Eastern on New Year's Eve. That will be the finale, and that will decide. I I don't think they have a very good chance of rallying at the end. As I said earlier, remember Winds of Winter, not the book, that's not out, the episode where the Night King assaults Winterfell and gets defeated by Arya. There were still people going, well, there's a couple episodes left. I was like, no. And there was a lot of people questioning, like, how are you going to wrap everything up in 7 episodes? And then they spent the first, 2 or 3 episodes just fucking around. They weren't terrible episodes. They're actually the better episodes of the season, but they did nothing. They just brought people together, set up some forced drama. And I think it's kind of going to be the same way here. And it will be remembered for how it ended. But again, we're not talking about a great series. Very popular series. Extremely popular series that it will break records. Millions of people will watch it. I just don't think it has much of a chance. We'll see. We'll see. But here, let's go to back to Cyclops. Oh yeah, that poor guy's still making the rounds. A guy complaining about, a guy who unironically posted a tweet about rage bait keeping people from seeing the Marvels. That was, as Disparu pointed out, literally a tweet that is rage bait to get people to convince people that the Marvels is good. And you see a lot of that. And I just say, go watch the Marvels. Please report back to me on its cinematic excellence. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. There it is. So I'm sure everybody's seen the trailer by now. And I think what Marvel is doing is very purposeful. I think they are leaking this stuff, but then putting it in the theater because they want people to go to the theater, but it's also going to create hype and they're going to start this slow burn. And I think it's starting to work. Wasn't really impressed with Steve Rogers being back was funny and great, but the actual trailer itself, the Thor trailer, this one is pure key jangling, but it's working. It's got a lot of people talking because we're going to see Cyclops in his comic accurate costume after 25 years. And as I said here, all it took was an act of desperation. Because for the previous 25 years, up until I think the end of Apocalypse, which that was dumb Cyclops. They never had him in anything close to a comic accurate costume because they thought it would be silly. Like, it's perfectly okay for energy to come out of a guy's eyes or a blue guy to teleport. But this would be silly. When Cyclops has one of the best costumes, period, of the X-Men. The X-Men have cool costumes. There's nothing wrong with it. Should have done it years ago. Now, I think there's a very good chance Cyclops here, I think he makes it 5 minutes before he dies. And inherently, here is your problem with Doomsday if they go this route. And this is just purely my speculation, but it looks like it's going to be Dr. Doom kills mostly the Marvel universe that's outside of the MCU. I'm sure they'll keep some alive. Maybe Cyclops survives. Who knows? But I'm guessing with the amount of people that are in this movie, not all of them are going to make it to the end. I think a good half are going to get killed. And yay, get the kids together, get them in the car, get to see the return of Robert Downey Jr., Steve Rogers, and Thor. Thor will kneel to King Valkyrie. Steve Rogers will affirm that Sam Wilson is Captain America and Steve Rogers is not. Robert Downey Jr. will be a villain who is killing all of your favorite characters from the Fox X-Men universe and other places. Neat. But what's undeniable, whatever happens in this, what's going to be a very long movie over 3 hours, is this was an act of desperation and an act that, listen, acts of desperation are good. It means you still want to survive. I'm fine with it. But they're not going to do what they need to do at this point, which is a hard reset. Start everything over. You can't like what are you going to do with Simu Liu's Shang-Chi after Secret Wars? Are you going to carry on with him? He's a PR nightmare. He's a horrible Shang-Chi. So are you going to carry on with him? Are you going to carry on with Monica Rambeau, Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop? Then what's the point of all this? The problem is this mess that Marvel created, they don't have the willingness to get out of it the way they need to, because it was bowing down to pressure from activists. You've let the activists in the building, and it's impossible to get them out. When you fear your own employees, you brought back Steve Rogers. You didn't even call him Captain America, and look at how many people flipped out. Now, the good news is that is an insignificant number. And if they stick with that and don't give a shit, they're never going to be able to get the success they had before. They're never going to reach the heights of Endgame ever, ever, ever. Of the hype. And I don't mean just the box office. I mean the hype, the interest, being in the zeitgeist. I think Doomsday has a huge opening, massive opening, but I think it's going to, again, be a lot more like Doctor Strange Mom than anything else. And that didn't go over very well. But it looks cool. That's great. Fantastic. And you got people talking about it, including Bo DeMayo. Bo DeMayo out there is first here. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Cyclops, right? If I turn a little bit this way, you see him right there. And you see him right here. That's a Metacom one. Great costume. I prefer the mask over the head, but they haven't made one. You guys remember the famous covers from the 90s? Got him right here. Big fan of Cyclops. I'm glad to see him get his due. If they kill him in 5 minutes, fuck that movie. They nerfed him in the fucking X-Men movies, if you recall. They nerfed him in the X-Men movies with Bryan Singer, who would take off for large periods of time to go party, and other people would have to direct the movie. But, yeah. So Bo DeMayo, the former writer on The Witcher, called out Lauren Hissrich and the team for openly mocking the source material, and good for him for doing that. He's been going after Kevin Feige. He was, arguably, Bo DeMayo helped create probably the best thing on Disney Plus, the X-Men 97 animated series. Low bar, but, and was fired. Was fired for, I don't know exactly what. I imagine it was being very difficult to work with. Now there could be layers to that. He could be very difficult to work with because he wanted to stick with the canon. I'm like, okay, I respect that. But and I'm not going to show it again, but he put up a tweet last night basically saying, well, here's the problem. Trailer number 1 from Doomsday, white guy. Trailer number 2, white guy. Trailer number 3, white guy. And it's like, bro. The reason they need to go back to the main legacy characters who just so happen to be white is because and he was insinuating that they weren't doing enough for POCs and the gays. And the thing is, Marvel went all in for the last 5 years. They went all in. And it failed because there wasn't enough of you. They cast directors and producers and writers rather than hiring them on their talent for inclusivity, and they paid the price for it because they got a lot of turds, including Nia DaCosta's The Marvels. And that's Kevin Feige's fault, but the people were given an opportunity, and you can't say Kevin Feige. You can say Kevin Feige's done a lot of things, but you can't say he hasn't tried. And a Kevin Feige quote, and yes, this is going to back up what Bo's saying, but dude, it's show business. A Kevin Feige quote is on diversity is, "We have done our bit for king and country." My God, it's a really nice quote, but then they give us female Silver Surfer. So it's not one I believe, like for a second. I don't think Marvel is capable of changing. I also don't think they can change with the guy who created the problems. I think, could Kevin walk after Endgame and go to Star Wars or something like that? Certainly. Absolutely. But it doesn't matter at this point. Doomsday and Secret Wars will be big hits. But the question is, where do we go from there? Oh, X-Men. And you think Disney Marvel is going to properly cast the X-Men? Like for 1 second? Yellow Flash has been beating this drum, and I totally agree. I think Professor X will be black. And they'll turn it into a civil rights thing. And you go, no, but like Black Snape exists. I mean, they will. I think they will. It's getting harder and harder. You're getting further and further away from World War II. Now, there is a way to fix that. Pretty easy. You just go, well, add something to the mutation where they age slower, In the movie canon. Professor Malcolm X. Exactly. Netflix casting. Yeah, so what Marvel really needs to do, despite having the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, they need to stop everything for 5 years minimum. I would say longer, but 5 years minimum. Relaunch, recast Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Thor, because that's his name. It's not a mantle to be passed down. Cast everybody correctly. And if you casted everybody how they look in the comics, you'll have plenty of diversity, especially if you bring in the X-Men. Plenty. But they won't. Secret Wars won't do shit. I think it makes a lot of money. I think it'll be front loaded, Larry. I think it makes a bunch on its first weekend, but Secret Wars is where you get Tony Stark as Iron Man coming back. And you'll get a lot more. I think they'll bring in like Nicolas Cage as, now this is just purely speculation on my part. Nick Cage as Ghost Rider. Like we get everybody. We get Toby, we get Andrew Garfield, we get everybody. Fucking Lou Ferrigno. It'll be the X, they, them. Yeah, that's you know what? I don't think they're gonna bring back Gina. Yeah, it's not like Ryan Reynolds had her back. It's time to rescue X-Ray from Canada. She's being held hostage. Well, she's a strong, powerful woman, Kara. She can save herself. She needs to get out of that. She needs to get out of that country. That damn Canada. Asians are used to dictatorships. Yes, they are. Noons. What's up, lady? So, I think the doomsday marketing is starting to work. Objectively, it's starting to work just for creating hype. I do not think this is going to be a good movie. I think the only reason Sony hasn't released their trailer of Spider-Man is to not step on Doomsday. And having seen the Spider-Man trailer, it's much better. That is the one movie that's the one superhero movie I could say I'm looking forward to. Other movies I'm looking forward to, Project Hail Mary, very much so. The Odyssey, way more concerned about the casting than the costumes. And there was a third one in it, just Dune. Yeah, Dune. Kind of a weird book. So, and that's only what I've been told by Dune fans. I have not read it. So maybe they figure out a way to make it less weird and more linear and work. But yeah, Dune, is it Dune Messiah? Dune 3. Dune is weird. And I like that. It's just, man, I've tried to read that book so many times. And it's like, no. Mm-mm. And I like world building. I talked about it last night. I went down a little bit of a Warhammer 40K rabbit hole that I probably will live to regret. But it was just basic, what's the history of Warhammer 40K? And it's pretty fucking cool. I ain't gonna lie, it's fucking cool. Yeah. And listen, they for good reason, they borrow a lot from Elric. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, they had some licensing with Elric at one time. What's funny is Michael Moorcock, unfortunate last name, the creator of Elric, has always been a little bit like, I don't care if people borrow my stuff. He's kind of an old acid dropping hippie in that sense. But I did read one interview where he's like, yeah, I know The Witcher borrowed some stuff and Game of Thrones for sure, but George has actually contacted me and said it's an homage and I'm totally fine with it. If people want to like use some of my stuff, I'm not really going to care that much, which I think is kind of cool. It's not protecting your IP, but I think it's kind of cool. But he goes, but fuck Warhammer 40K. And I don't know what's behind that. I don't know what's behind that. Listen, I like his writing. I don't like all his politics for sure. Yeah, Moorcock, it's too late to sue him now, but I wish they would make an Elric. Well, no, not now, but if things ever get right or some independent person comes just away from Hollywood adapting Elric, even an animated series would be fucking awesome. Yeah, Moorcock. That's his last name. There's Millie Alcock and Michael Moorcock. You know, it's just British people or descendants from. I think is Millie Alcock Australian? But there's like towns in the UK called like Coxville or Cockington or whatever. There's lots of cock in Britain. Yeah, she's Australian. Yeah, she's South African or Australian. Well, it's all, you know. She ain't no native. Somebody just says, I'm tired of Glenn Powell. I am curious, what has brought this on? Are you getting like Glenn Powell fatigue? Running Man sucked. I don't mind him, but needs to choose his roles better. Needs to choose his roles better. He was okay in Twisters. I agree. I like Twisters. Didn't like the end. Oh, back to Stranger Things. When there was the unmarriage proposal and then Nancy and Jonathan touch heads. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, you're going to start seeing this. So once I bring it up to you, if you haven't heard this before, there's many people in the chat who've heard this before. You can't unsee it. What's been going on in Hollywood since the intimacy coordinators showed up. So people don't mac anymore. They touch heads. They touch heads in Acolyte. We've got a file going of head touching. It's retarded. But now head butts, I'm okay with. I'm okay with that. Let's see. That was from the 25th. That's an old one. Yeah, not a lot of news. I don't have any. Is there any new info on the sale of WB? Let's go. I mean, it's the end of the year, so I think everybody's like taking a look back at 2025, which is what we're doing. Working on our top five Hollywood disasters of 2025. I'll give you some spoilers. We actually put in 6 because there was a tie-ish, and Perry's like, fuck ties. We don't do ties. I'm like, I agree with that. He was very passionate about it, though. So he's, oh, no, we'll just do a number 6. So it's a top 5 that's going to be a top 6. That now features a 1.5. What is Superman? I guess you'll just have to tune in to find out. I'll tell you what. So we get it's the Friday Night Tights people, Drinker, Mahler, and others gave us their list, and then Lady Greymaster has some autistic formula that she uses. I had to make an executive decision on one. I did. But I will tell you, people voted for Superman, like a lot. Like a lot. I will tell you that. People voted for Superman. Me and Az were the only ones who voted for Peacemaker season 2. Yeah, nothing really going on. So, sorry, this is repetitive from last night, but there'll be, people here, new people here. I finished up Pluribus. With the wife. We had gotten through 4 episodes, and then we burned through it 2 nights ago. And as we're watching it, like, fuck Carol. If this next episode doesn't go somewhere, we're out. And then we ended up watching the whole thing because, in truth, it's really well shot. It's really well acted. It's pretty well paced for what little happens in the fucking show. So it's engaging. It's interesting. And like, so how is it well shot? And I went to a digital media school, but I didn't go to a film school. But it's really wide open. They use a lot of space in their shots. Things are not centered. So like Carol will be down here on the screen, but everything looks pretty clean, minimalist, the kind of shit you would see on Apple Plus. Very deliberately slow paced, the slowest of slow burns, total 100% mystery box. It's not really that surprising. It's only semi sci-fi and supernatural in the sense that a signal came from, I believe it was 600 light years away, and mankind received the signal and was able to decode it. And it was essentially a virus that makes everybody really fucking happy. But you're also a hive mind, so you completely lose your individuality. And everybody knows everything about everybody. There is no pretense, and they can't lie. They can't kill, not even an animal. They can't even pick an apple off a tree. So that presents a little problem because they're going to starve to death. And 12 people on Earth, this didn't work on 12 people. Now, what we have met of the other people, they don't seem too concerned about saving the world, right? And one guy, I think is he from Somalia or Niger? I can't remember. He's just enjoying life. He's just enjoying life because they also, the hive mind wants to make the people who are left out happy at any cost. So they will do anything they ask. And I mean anything. So he's having orgies in Vegas and stuff. And it's like, he's a dude. Okay, got it. Then there's Carol, a middle-aged lesbian author, and she hates the schlock she writes. She hates everybody. The only person she liked was her lesbian girlfriend who died. Now, when this process happened, when humanity decoded the virus and then spread the virus, a bunch of people died. A bunch of people, like a lot of people died. And they're really sorry about it. Humanity, because it's still humanity. It's not aliens. It's their brains have been basically rewired to be a hive mind. And this could be analogous for a lot of things. And it started out really interesting. And the premise is the most miserable person in the world needs to save humanity. And I think its biggest flaw is Carol. Like, Ray Seahorn's a great actress. She was fucking awesome in Better Call Saul. It's damn near impossible to like her in this show. Like, and the thing is, you can have a horrible character be likable. There's many examples of that. And I don't think they've pulled it off with Carol. So that's my problem. But then they bring in Menusos from Paraguay later on, and he's fucking awesome. He's completely just hardcore badass. I won't take your food. I won't talk to you. When he does talk to the others, when they go, we can provide things for you, and he's all, you can't provide anything. You've stolen everything. You know, and he's fine with killing them, just killing everybody. He turns on that later. There's a great scene where he sees his mom, and his mom's like, I missed you. I want you to come home. And he says something to the effect of, you got it wrong. My mom's a bitch. That was great. But he's hardcore. He won't accept anything from them. Walks through the jungle by himself, gets injured. But if they would have brought him in earlier, I think it would have been better. I think if the show would have been better. And I know it's the point of the show, but if humanity has to rely on a middle-aged American lesbian to save it, we're fucked. And she makes all the wrong choices. And by the end, she only makes the right choice because a girl that she's wants to scissor doesn't say the right thing. We'll leave it at that. She's presented with an opportunity. And the funny thing is, the dude from Paraguay comes in and pretty much figures out like how to possibly fix all this almost immediately. when Carol was fucking around for 60 days. And maybe that's the point, but I don't know where you go with this. You're going to probably find out more and more that the hive mind is like, every time you're presented with, oh, they're kind of evil, then you're presented with a logical, like, yeah, I don't want to ruin the whole premise, but anytime they come across like, oh, this is a horrible thing they're doing, they follow it up with like, no, here's a pretty logical explanation for why they're doing it. Right. But unless it goes bonkers and like this was a signal sent out so aliens can just come and take over the planet easily because everybody becomes docile, I don't know where you go with it. But I know it's supposed to be just a personal story about Carol. It doesn't take a migrant to solve the issues. It takes a man. It takes a man. It's really, yeah, it's not bad at all. It's pretty good. And I'm engaged in the show. And Melissa said she likes it better than Severance. Am I going to wait 2 to 3 years for a season 2? Probably not. If they were going to crank this out in a year, I'd give it a chance. 2 to 3 years, I'm going to forget everything. And I don't know if I want to rewatch, because it's such a slow burn. It's like, it doesn't feel rewatchable. I could be totally wrong on this. It is the most watched thing on Apple TV and people are fucking loving it. But, and I like surreal. I just like it to be a little faster paced. It doesn't have to be, as Vince Gilligan said, TikTok generation. No, quite the opposite. I'm fine with like, I mean, Better Call Saul was deliberately paced too. Very much so. But yeah, 2 to 3 years, and it's because of effects. And it's like, there's some good effect scenes and there's some horrible effect scenes in it. And I think that has a lot to do with Apple Plus's platform sucks. Their HD is not HD. It's not even close to 4K. Like, no, I like Landman better. Somebody said Landman sucks. Landman's awesome. Landman's awesome. Not the best show of the year. Mobland's the best show of the year. I would say my favorite shows this year are Mobland, Clarkson's Farm season 4, basically a tie. Reacher was good this year. Return to form, I thought, much better than the previous season. Lamb Man, Tulsa King. And I'll throw Pluribus in there because it's just made better than most of the shit out there. But I don't think Pluribus is this amazing thing. Penguin was last year. Landman's fantastic. I have to see Mayor of Kingston. I haven't seen it yet. Once I'm done with my Stranger Things review, I'm catching up on everything, including The Last Samurai Standing, which I've been wanting to see forever. Oh, and Welcome to Derry. Yeah. It won't be Stranger Things. I haven't watched Mayor of Kingstown yet, but I will. Landman is a blue-collar soap opera, 100%. It's Dallas. It is Dallas. Terminal List Dark Wolf was good. You're right. That one was good. I liked it. I mean, nowhere near as good as Terminal List, but okay, you asked Dynasty. Now, sorry, was the wrong one. You asked Dynasty. Now, what would I like better? I like Dynasty more than I like Dallas. I did. Dallas was good, but I like Dynasty more. But if you just like a show, I mean, Landman is character driven, 100% character driven. You're following around Billy Bob Thornton being Billy Bob Thornton and just looking at the world in the most bitter and pragmatic way. And it's great. Falcon Crest. Don't start with me with the Falcon Crest. All right, let's get to the people. Oh, favorite movies will be easy because there's not many of them. Favorite movies, Frankenstein, F1, Weapons. I haven't seen, I promise, well, it's because I have to do a review, but I'm behind. But I want to see Song Sung Blue. My mom was a big Neil Diamond fan. And no, we're not going to talk about Knots Landing either. No. Gentlemen, season 2 comes out next year. Gentlemen, season 2 comes out next year. Luke and Laura. Luke died recently, like just a couple of weeks ago. R.I.P. R.I.P. Luke. Kiru is a new member. Stamp Master is a new member. Welcome, Dr. Schlurpo. Thank you for the message. I read that one earlier. Stranger Things season 5 footage with the Everyone Has AIDS song. That's next. Everyone has AIDS. The odd I see really has me concerned. The casting does for sure. Zendaya's Athena. Get the fuck out of here. Andrew Cram has gifted 1 Nerdrotic Live membership. Thank you. And become a new member, paying it forward. Thank you. Rook Taking Rooks, been a member for 8 months. I hate to say it, but X-Files is an early patient zero for the lame head, forehead touching thing. It worked then, but then it spread. Yeah. Well, the thing with all those shows is once and it's also, shipping has been around forever. I can't tell you exactly when the term came around. It's, in my life experience, it's relatively recent. I think 20 years, whatever. But when the male protagonist and female protagonist eventually get together, it always falls off after that. Almost always. All right, we're going to get to FNT. Here we go. Excuse me. Eric Son Lee for $5 says, do you think Todd McFarlane's Spawn movie will ever come to fruition? The 97 HBO series is peak. I'm surprised it hasn't, but I think it hasn't because Todd's not going to let just anybody fuck with it. But I also think the moment has passed. I was talking about it last night. We're not seeing Hollywood take a lot of chances on anything outside of Marvel and DC like they used to. But I would love to see Todd McFarlane's Spawn get remastered and put into 4K, the animated series, because that was absolutely amazing. But you never know. I think the last I heard, Todd McFarlane wanted to make it a low budget, like Blumhouse horror movie, which is a horrible idea. Just make it a Spawn movie. Kylie Gloff for $10 says, hey, Gary, thanks for doing this. My niece Haley is watching for the first time. So cool to introduce y'all to each other. Stay up, my brother. Well, I'm sorry for the language. Depends on how old she is. My niece watches too. One of my 3 nieces. 21 Palika has gifted 1 Nerdrotic membership for $5. Brian's MIDI has gifted 5 for $25. Thank you. Xylise Liddell for $14.99 says, please support our man Tom Hiddleston and watch the Night Manager Season 2 trailer. It comes out next week. Also, could you share your thoughts on The Life of Chuck? I haven't seen The Life of Chuck. Has ended up on some people's worst movie of the year list, but Mahler highly recommends it. So it's one I will eventually watch. Otto Vanderballs for $9.99. What will earn more, Avatar 3 or Doomsday? Ooh, that is a good question. That is a good question. I think where's Avatar at right now? I'm going to say Avatar. I could be wrong. I'm going to say Avatar. The difference will be that Doomsday will have a much better record-breaking domestic opening, but Avatar will do better. Here's my logic. It could be completely wrong. Avatar will do better internationally and have longer legs because it has, well, Doomsday is not going to have, well, Doomsday is going to have competition because Dune's coming out the same day and Warner Brothers is not moving the date. Merry Christmas to the whole Friday Night's crew and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Polish Prince. Thank you for the $5. Kingfire 45 for $2. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. Great show. Cheers. I think we all had a great Christmas because everybody was pretty fucking tired, including me. We were all burnt. Harry Brownhole for $2. Penultimate FNT. Jeremy comes out as gay. Merry Christmas. If he wasn't, Jeremy's been under the weather lately. That's why you haven't seen him stream. He has been fighting off the flu. I guess it's pretty bad. He said he said it's pretty bad. And I called him a gay pussy. Kind of. Merry Christmas, everyone, from Psychotic Mind Goose. Hail, brother. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. Third Doomsday trailer will feature Cyclops. Are we getting baby Cable? Oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Well, I think since they're focusing, at least on the first two, on children, they've got to be playing some role in either disappearing or something, or Doom's taking everybody's firstborn. I have no idea. Sci-Fi Freak for $5. The Diet Before Christmas by Humbug. Nobody diets before Christmas or during Christmas. Correction by the Christmas Pranksters, says Sci-Fi Freak for $2 more. Mary, did you know? Or Santa, I'm right here. And that would probably be talking about our favorite Christmas songs. Jim from F for $5 says, how are you going to explain RDJ as Victor Von Doom when it's the guy they know as Tony Stark? He's supposed to be a variant. If you watched Loki, that would be my guess. Captain JPS for $2. Happy Christmas and Merry New Year. Right on. One-Armed Wolf, 89 for $2. The live action Rooney Kenshin movies are great. I don't even know what I just read. Connor Dorian for $10 says, you want to know what is better than this season of Stranger Things? Welcome to Derry. A lot of people are saying that. Like too many to discount. Fart Face Baggins for $4.99. Just watched Will's coming out scene. I'm different. I don't like girls. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, we know. I'm scared either they're going to have Steve Rogers put over Sam or they'll have him fight Steve as Captain Hydra and he'll beat him. I am surprised they're bypassing the Captain Hydra thing, but that's not out of the realm of possibility. Because maybe the rest of that scene is panning out and you see like a Hydra flag on the wall. Freren is the true sequel to Lord of the Rings, says Samin Nader for $2. Penn's fan for life for $10 says, this has to be a multiverse cap because you couldn't adopt kids in the 50s based. What? Oh, okay, I got it. He spelled something different. This has to be a multiverse cap because gays couldn't adopt kids in the 50s based. Gotcha. TNA projects for $9.99. I tried in 3 previous shows and the super chats aren't getting read, but I still try again. The Triumph in the trailer looks like a new one, not from the 50s. Yeah, that's it does. So that's why I was like, where is he? What time is it? So is it a variant? Axel Foley says the baby has stretch marks around its mouth. Dearest for $5. Steve Rogers rides on a Triumph for me to poop on. Beefy 5-layer husbando for $2 says it's an absolute triumph. Sorcerer's Stone Hermione, happy Christmas. Yeah. You're right. She does say that. We were talking about, because Az and Disper were going, no, we say Merry Christmas. I'm like, wow, because in all of your media, you say Happy Christmas. Not all, but a lot of the British media. Super Fran Demand, I don't think so, but I'm going to. Hang on, let me make sure they're there. I will check Super Fran Demand. I'm going to put a pin in that. Where was I? Just lost my place. Hang on. The internet needs to make an AI version of the Kimmel speech to make it much more entertaining. Oh, that was awful. Sorry about that. Pitt Meyer, Mephisto, more like Mephisted. Am I right? Watch A Christmas Carol, the most English Christmas story. No, Happy Christmas to be found. All Merry Christmas. There you go. I sit corrected. Ariel Key for $5. The internet I read that one. Jimmy Kimmel, more like Give Me Kibble from Judah for $2. For Judah. From Judah. Chugster 465 for 10 British pounds, proper money. Kimmel came on and spouted utter bullshit about how much Trump doesn't like you and how it affects his freedom of speech. Meanwhile, my countrymen rot in prison for tweets. Totally fucking tone deaf. He's a retard. Go look at any of these late night guys when they're put in the, like, they're probably going to go off and do podcasts after this, and they'll need writers for their fucking podcasts. Admittedly, writers would be wasted on us because we couldn't read half the stuff they write. But yeah, he has, I think, a staff of 12 writers. 12 writers for that show. Because we were playing the Kimmel video, Punch Boy says unsubbed. I don't blame you. Fast Eddie for $4.99. In the end, Cobra Kai stuck the landing more than Stranger Things. 100%. It was ridiculous, but it was, in a very strange way, it was earnest, and I loved how it ended in the most ridiculous way. Japanese Demon Lord Abir Lucifer for $5. The debate on the softness and incompetence of Hollywood is one of the best debates I've seen on FNT. Y'all need more of this. I think it was a really good conversation. And nobody was really, none of us were disagreeing. We were disagreeing on like how you fix this. And Disparu's view, which is not wrong at all, is like, this is easy to fix. Tell them to shut the fuck up and fire anybody who's a pain in the ass. But that's not the world that they created. Because that is the solution. That is absolutely the solution. But it's impossible in the environment that the BBC and Hollywood has created. Utterly impossible. And they are willing to let their companies, their jobs, their companies, and their industry burn because they don't want to do some uncomfortable things. Like firing people is not fun. It's way easier when somebody does something like, for example, like steal from the register or something like that, or yell at a customer. That would, my guess, be easier, a lot easier. It's way harder when you're like, I really like you. You're a good person. You're just not very good at the job. That's way harder. I think the BBC, I think a lot of people in the BBC and Hollywood have made it very easy to be fired, and they haven't. They're willing to pull the trigger on Gina Carano pretty quick. Rachel Zegler, dude, they had a fucking executive had to fly to her house to tell her to shut the fuck up, and she still wouldn't. And what she doesn't understand is whether it's principled or not, doesn't matter in this situation. That if she wants to continue working in this industry, there's going to be a bunch of people who say, oh, I completely agree with Rachel on her stance, on her political stance, but she's a complete fucking pain in the ass, and we're never going to work with her again. But yeah, it was a good debate. Disbrew's not wrong. It's just that the environment and willingness are not there for Hollywood to do what they need to do. They could fix it in a year easily. And Neon from Clownfish brought this up. They are 100% going to use AI as an excuse to get rid of a lot of people. Oh, and I just got sent an email from somebody who is in the Film Actors Guild. And they are going to be discussing their new deal because there is the possibility of another strike next year. I would wager they wouldn't be that stupid, but who knows? Hollywood no longer has the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. Says Hasa Hapa for $5. Wow. That goes back a couple of years. I was thinking about what Az just said, and I had to pull over because I'm driving to say this. There is an inspirational superhero TV show out there, and it is called My Hero Academia. An animated one. Yes. Hopper is going to die sacrificing himself by killing 11's sister. Money on it. Yeah, 11's sister has to be bad at this point. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And if they do a rug pull on that and they save her anyway, it's kind of... Brian Murphy for $4.99. Mind flare particles are the new midichlorians. Duh. Theodore Kittleson for $1.99, just drops $1.99 and walks away. Thank you very much. Trying not to drag for $4.99. Hail, at Islands of Adventure on Tuesday, I'm going to Epic. Woo! Have fun. Million Hamster Assault for $5. This goes towards Epic Mickey's diabetes. I think the sugar would. The world is about to end. Hold up, everyone. Will needs to tell us his sexual orientation. This is R. Frosty for £5 British. Everybody wait, I got something really important. Do you have a secret on how to take out, you have these new powers, Will. Do you have a secret to take out Vecna? And to stop the colliding of two worlds? So no, I'm gay. Bubba Doom for $5. Serious question. You keep referring to Ocho. Is Herbie the love bug in Stranger Things now? Oh, that's a deep cut. What would Dean Jones and Buddy Hackett say? Bubba Doom, you're old like me. No, number 8. I call her the Ocho, even though she's Indian. Doom Vlad for 10 Rons says, Tame Impala. Let it happen. Enough said. $1.05 says Jackson Cagle. Freedom costs $1.05. They are playing Game of World pretending to play D&D, says Joe Cole. James JMSS for $5. Question for Gary Naz. Off topic question. But who would win in a battle to the death, Sauron or the Lich King? See, that's a question for, I'm like, the Lich King. Oh, that's from Warcraft. I'm just going to say Sauron. I don't know shit about Warcraft, though. But I'm just going to say Sauron. Sauron's pretty badass. Now, Rings of Power Sauron? The Lich King makes him his prison girlfriend. King X Red 248 for $4.99. The Henry and Mind Flare. The Henry and Mind Flare backs Taurus told in a stage black story. X-Ray Girl. Fuck, she does it. Oh. The Henry and Mind Flare, not Flare, backstory told in a stage play. The Duffer Brothers said it's canon and helps with season 5. Dumb idea. Yeah, they also said you didn't need to watch it, but apparently you do. Slain Hope for $2. Portal opens. Geralt steps out and says, "Where's Siri?" Winston Alexander for $5. Gary, watch Stargate season 1, SG1, and you'll see what a real wormhole looks like. The Stranger Things version is more like a hemorrhoid infected a-hole. Yeah, the upside down kind of does look like you're in like a colon. So, Filthy Communist for $4.99. Stranger Things story is very similar to Fan Four Stick at this point. John Wayne for $5. Thank God I never wasted thousands of hours on Lost, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and Stranger Things. For all of those who did, sucks to be you. I don't regret. I mean, I didn't go that far in Lost. And dipping out of Walking Dead, I'm fine with what I watched, except for season 2. Game of Thrones was tough. But it's not going to stop me from watching TV shows. Eric Hellfinger for $10. If Meek would just accept the hot dude's love, he could unlock his full furry power. I'll be sure to pass that on. Ashlock Hart for $5. This is what happens when you hire based on DEI and not someone's writing skills. And sorry, it won't change later. Stop hogging. Heart will break. Miki, don't hurt my family. I'm paying the lurker tax. Says Phil McCracken. IDOT. From the diary of Ryan Kinnell. The night before Christmas, I was visited by 3 spirits: Smirnoff, Jose Cuervo, and Jack Daniel. Son of Sean for $4.99. I canceled my data with Piers Morgan's. I canceled my date with Piers Morgan's wife to watch FNT tonight. Merry Christmas, y'all. Christ is King. The scene with Nancy mowing down soldiers on the last episode had me crying out loud. The power levels in the show are ridiculous, and Nancy being 80 pounds soaking wet, just mowing people down is a little nuts. And yes, they are killing a lot of soldiers. Hopper killed a lot of soldiers. Yeah, she is Nancy Rambo. She is Nancy Rambo. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Her being a good shot was like, oh, look at this juxtaposition. We got this little skinny girl. She's the best shot out of the boys. But now she's like, I don't know, out there fucking with their rifle mowing down soldiers. It's like, come on. See me on for $4.99. The scene, I read that one. Happy New Year to the chat and mods. This super chat is for you because we all know Gary will not read this until about midnight sometime next week. I appreciate the chat more than I can say in a single post. Net Stealer, cheers to you, buddy, for $10. Got my Kickstarter Transformers comic compendium. Cool, Brooke. I didn't know it existed. And now I can't get it. Thank you for the $4.99. Eric K for $5 says, Stranger Things, you guys are obsessed with the underage sex show. Malakot 63 for $5. There's only 3 Die Hard movies, 2 Home Alone movies, and 1 Jingle All the Way. Merry Christmas. Was it? There wasn't a sequel to Jingle All the Way, was there? I can't remember. Mexi Rage for $10. Hail, watch the new regarded BBC. Regard harder. Also, who do you think is going to get more desperate? DC after Supergirl fails or Marvel if Doomsday fails? Merry Christmas to all, and to all good night. I think they're both in the same boat right now. But Doomsday is going to be, it's going to generate more money than Supergirl. A lot of questions with DC right now. A lot of questions. The future's uncertain and the end is always near. Sean Stevens for $5. How come you guys haven't covered House of the Dragon season 3 teaser yet? Because it's not long enough. It's part of a bigger trailer. So they don't have an isolated teaser yet. They have one for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which we've covered. But what's in the new stuff we've gotten from House of the Dragon is just in a larger what's coming on HBO. And it's like under 30 seconds. Looks cool, but can't get much out of it. At this point, let Vecna win, says Doug for $2. A lot of people agree. Happy Kwanzaa, Mike and Jeremy. What's the plan this week? Jeremy got sick for Kwanzaa. Sunny hard. Matt Robertson for $5. The scene where 11 and 8 in episode 5 was painful to get through. It felt like they were competing on who was the worst actor in the series. It wasn't great. And Ryan brought this up on FNT. Like, you give child actors a break, but when these child actors get older, you find out who can actually act and who can't, and a lot of them can't. Wild Hunter for 2 British pounds, proper money. St. Jonathan's Facial, what the fuck? Max Power, 815 for $5 Australian dollars. Someone make a version of Birdcage, but opposite orientation, the couple hiding their straight parents. I already told Gary and Ryan this already, but I just wonder why the TV/movie industry wouldn't hire one of you sons of bitches as a consultant to make their film/shows better. Call me Captain Obvious. Sound Saber for $10. Well, they would be smart, and they never will do it, to hire Ryan to be a Star Wars consultant. That would be smart. That would be, I'm wondering how much I should say right now. I did consult on something. Unpaid. Completely unpaid. For free. I can't. Although I didn't sign an NDA or anything. I will eventually tell you what it was. And we'll see if they listen to me at all. But I did. Absolutely did consult on something. And it was, I had mentioned, on one of the many streams, I'm like, listen, if you guys want to talk, I'm happy to talk. Hell, I'll buy you lunch. I don't need any money. None of that shit. But if you want to chit chat. And somebody took me up on it. It was a video game. No, it was not a video game. It was not a video game. But yes, I did. I gave notes. I know the entire plot of this upcoming thing. A couple changes have been made since I've heard it, but yeah, after it comes out, I'll let you know. I promise. Robert Hayes for $4.99. Merry Christmas, you animals, and a Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Aston for $1.99. Come out scene was the first time I ever FF'd. And then it's puke emoji. Miki likes Deaky. Miki's grandkids will be on FNT before Beardo. That's true. Virtual Urges for $6.99. First time super chat. I'm catching live after maybe 3 years. Love the vibes always. Merry Christmas. Virtual Urges. Thanks for catching live. But there's always the VOD. I mean, it's Friday night. Okay. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The reason Friday night was chosen was I figured, because it was considered for broadcast TV back in the day, it's kind of considered the dead zone. Like nobody stays at home and watches TV. I'm a sober guy. I don't go out on Friday nights. And when we started the show, I wouldn't get home until 5:30. The wife didn't get home until 9. So I'm like, it's a perfect. And at the time, it wasn't a big streaming night. And also, we could review movies that came out either Friday morning or Thursday night. But I mainly chose it because it was probably the worst fucking day possible to stream and worst night because everybody's going out, whatever. COVID changed that. But yeah. And it used to start at 7:30 Pacific. And now it starts, at 1 Pacific? Those fucking Brits. I mean, the guests, not the hosts. Fuck them. Potential guests. But yeah, it's been many years now. Different iterations. But I've been streaming pretty constantly on Friday night since 2016. Again, like different variations, different times, but for a long time. Jeremy Licks Dicks, shout out West Texas, Bills Mafia. There's a lot to unpack there. Steve DeLeon for $2. So you're in West Texas, you're a Bills fan, and you think Jeremy's gay. Odd. But we like West Texas. I don't care about the gay NFL. Joe Cole, 2 parts for $15. Also, spoilers. So if you can get to the upside down under any plate, why keep attacking that base? Seems completely dumb. Doesn't it, Joe? Doesn't it? Also, you cannot buy super chats with the R word. That is R-worded. Yeah, you can't put retard in super chats, which makes no fucking sense because you can say it in the chat. So that is retarded. The logic is retarded. Flame of Arnor for $1.99. It's the FNT of the Meek. Hail and Merry Christmas. Hail to you. Eddie Brock 9043, 2 parts says, was Miki Jeremy more emotional of Will coming out? Don't forget the annual reading of Santa's husband, Gary. Do your job. Odin was not here. Do your Jimmy Stewart impression. Odin, did you find Will's coming out relatable, Jeremy? Oh, poor Jeremy, just catching strays. He wasn't even here. On the rant side, Pugs4 for $25. He gifted 5 Nerdrotic subscriptions. Thank you very much for $25. Data12 says, did you hear U.S. taxpayers unexpectedly purchased Somalia without even trying? Yeah, the amount of fraud is reported. I don't know if this is true, but the amount of fraud could be up where that could be equal to the GDP of Somalia. I didn't even know they had a GDP. Yeah, that's crazy. That video is crazy. The amount of views it got. Let's see. Let's double. Nick Shirley kind of broke the internet. $116.5 million impressions on Twitter. I don't know how many views it has on YouTube. But it's the 42-minute video showing all the fraud. And it's just a dude in a hoodie and a mic with some old guy going up to the Children Leering Center. They couldn't even spell learning right. And I mean, I don't know who would send their kids there anyway, but Jesus Christ. And the thing is, and you guys all know this, I'm stating the obvious. This rot is everywhere. It's in every state, every county, everywhere. This kind of corruption is absolutely everywhere, and they are burning through our money, and there's one party that wants this to happen. And why do they want this to happen? Well, I have some crazy conspiracy theories that I'm happy to share with you right now. The globalists want to bring America to heel. And how do you bring America to heel? You let it rot from within. Because America's a big obstacle in globalism. Big obstacle. And especially in Minnesota, completely run by Democrats. I mean, they're changing their flag. They're doing all this weird fucking shit. Oh, by the way, somebody was murdered possibly over this. And I'm just scratching the surface, but there's a reason it's happening, and I'm sure you all know that. It's very deliberate. And the Uniparty doesn't want to stop it. Now, the thing that pissed me off is I saw people like Marjorie Taylor Greene retweet Nick Shirley. Let's see, I don't want to look through her Twitter. And she basically said, there needs to be some accountability. In other words, somebody needs to do something about this. No shit. No shit, Marjorie Taylor Greene, representative who works in the government. Somebody needs to do something about this. Ted Cruz. I'm seeing all these fucking politicians going, wow, this is crazy. Somebody needs to do something about this. Yeah, no fucking shit. And you know what? None of you fucking will. Considering you're just supposedly discovering this. But yeah. Yeah, think of the imaginary children. the state of Minnesota needs to be audited by the feds. The problem is the feds fucking can't pass an audit. And Tim Walz. Ugh. They're all fucking useless. Some 23-year-old YouTuber exposed all this fraud in Minnesota, and nothing is going to fucking happen. Yep. And like completely embarrassed the whole entire legacy media, as many people have pointed out. But it was just all the politicians like, well, somebody's got to do something about this. Like, fuck off. Seriously. Bronzonite. I am vindicated. Didn't watch past first episode of Stranger Things after father yelled at kid. Spidey senses told me it would be a rainbow garbage. Bet money Fruit Kid will be the key to all of it. Laugh my ass off. You weren't wrong. And then me says this tard says Batman Returns was the best ever. That would be me. That would be me. Wow. He wears Velcro shoes and eats chalk, I'm guessing. I mean, maybe. But yes, Batman Returns is my favorite Batman movie. It is. And I stopped eating chalk a long time ago. Okay. And I know how to tie mostly my shoes. Better choice. Leo Kearse. John Doe says Miki lets his best friend take advantage of him when they wrestle. When they wrestle. Now I'm looking for Super Fran Demand. Yeah, maybe I got it on it. I'll look for it, Super Fran Demand. I'll put X-Ray Girl on it. And these are ones from last night that I missed. I'm sorry. Wigden Briones for $4.99 says they really gotta stop listening to them because holy shit, Stranger Things season 5 sucks. Their ego is so big they honestly believe they're the good guys. Yep. Brendan Lucas for £5 proper money. I didn't say all black superheroes are boring. Spawn and Luke Cage are among my favorites. Well, I don't think anybody accused you of that, but maybe that was a response in the chat. No, there's some good. I like Deathlock. I mean, he looks like a zombie, but he's black. No, it's there's a lot of good ones, and Falcon's a good superhero. But giving him the white man's hand-me-downs is pandering as hell. And what the MCU ended up doing was screwing up two superheroes. Patriotic Cat for $4.99. I noticed more Star Wars fans like myself jumping to 40K. I even bought the Star Wars Legion tabletop game to go with my 40K army. Well, you need somewhere to go. You need somewhere to go. Static Shock. Yeah, Blade is awesome. There's plenty of awesome superheroes. Nobody thinks they're all boring. No. Mr. Shenanigans is a new member. Welcome. The Antiquary is a new member. Welcome. Okie Poke 4551 is a new member. Welcome. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was fine. I mean, I wasn't going to buy solo books from her or anything. She was fine. And then Dr. Manhattan went black in the TV show. Yes, he did. That was unbelievable. That was unbelievable. He got blacked. He did. Malcolm in the Middle trailer out. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Let's take a look. Years.
My life is fantastic now. All I had to do is stay away from my family.
Malcolm has been intentionally hiding himself from this family for years.
By comparison, Reese looks pretty good.
You can't spend the rest of your life hiding and denying your family even exists.
Worked perfectly until they showed up.
Oh, it's a 4-part event. I'm like, are they bringing the series back or it's just a 4-part event? Jesus, what's all the... So yeah, the trailer's like 25 seconds long and then it's like, look at Hulu, which is going to become Disney Plus. I don't know. No strong feelings either way. Oh, no strong feelings either way. Although somebody did have some strong feelings last Friday about me liking Batman Returns as my favorite Batman movie, which that is normal nerd stuff. Yeah, kind of meh. Kind of meh. Is there? Okay. Dragon Season 3 trailer. I'm trying to see if there is one from HBO for the House of the Dragon. Yeah, you never know what's real nowadays. So there's not an isolated trailer yet, or I would absolutely watch it. And we are but a couple of weeks away from Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yeah, Batman Returns is awesome. I don't know what you're talking about there. I love Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. I love them. I think they're really freaking great movies. I think they are. Very grounded. Not anything like the comic book Batman movies. Danny DeVito was great. Lots of criticism at the time, though. Lots of criticism at the time. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up there. I got to start watching Stranger Things season 5 again. Ugh. But get ready for the vidya, and let's see who is streaming. Anybody? Oh, it kind of helps if I un momento. Where is my phone? There we go. Sorry about that. I'll be back tomorrow on Az's channel for Real BBC. Real BBC tomorrow. And then we will. Oh, Mahler's doing Simpsons Hit and Run with Metal Commander, with Metal. Eric July is live. The AI debate is heating up. Look at me, I'm live right there. And yeah. So you can go either of those places. I'll be back probably, New Year's Day in the evening to wrap up BBC stuff. So that is Thursday, right? Yeah. So I'll be back live here on Thursday evening, which will be New Year's Day. New Year's Day. So join me for that. In the meantime, I'll be working on stuff. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks to everyone who purchased the book and has been sharing it. And yes, it's available on, if you missed it, it's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Kindle and all those places. And I'll be getting on the audiobook pretty soon. But until then, have yourself a great Monday. Thanks to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat donation. You help keep the lights on. Thanks for the participation. You guys are hilarious as always. And we'll see you next time. Take it easy.